home, auto, business insurance.
Hey, good people. It's your pal Terry Bean.
And Dakota Leonard.
We're here with some fun, informative information about the wonderful world of insurance. So this is basically kind of like episode 1, right? We did an episode, but I don't know if anybody's ever going to see that. Do you think everybody will see that?
We should put it like maybe like bloopers.
Bloopers.
Remember how we used to turn the camera stuff? So maybe we'll make it like a blooper reel or something like that. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So maybe it'll be like episode like 0, but we'll release it later on. But now we actually know what we're going to talk about. We have kind of a format for the show. We got ideas that we're going to bring to you that are going to educate, inform, maybe inspire.
Yep.
I would assume entertain.
Oh, actually, I was just going to say that. And entertain.
Gotta entertain.
Yes.
Because that's otherwise why are we doing it?
Why are we doing it?
So, I noticed we didn't coordinate very well.
We did not. We are not soul sisters today.
But
I do know that purple is Terry's favorite color. So we will coordinate next time. We always gonna be matching. We gonna match. Trust me,
call each
match.
other. Like we'll text each other the night before, like 10:30. What are you wearing tomorrow?
What color are you wearing?
What are you gonna wear?
That's what you gotta do.
All right. I think that's a good plan.
Yes.
I think that's a good plan. So format wise, can you tell them what we're gonna actually kind of run through?
We're gonna give you a quick little intro. We're gonna educate you first with the word of the day. We're gonna inform you about 2 things that people sometimes have a little bit misconception about. We're gonna inspire you with a form of leadership that we do here at PKIG, and then we're gonna tell you a little quick snippet story.
Ooh, I like
That's
the
pretty
quick
much
snippet story.
That's what we're gonna do.
All right. So, word of the day. I picked today's word of the day.
Next time, I'm picking a word of the day.
You did not like today's word.
Go, Terry.
But listen, I'm here to educate you. And I figured I picked a word from the glossary. Like, listen, this is official stuff. We got big business right here. The word of the day is Appurtenant Structures. Appurtenant. I don't even know if I pronounced it right. That's why I had to spell it for y'all. But an appurtenant structure are buildings of lesser value that are on the same premises as the main building insured under a property policy. They're usually covered by the policy. I like that word usually in that sentence. Usually. So
sometimes they not.
Sometimes
they not. Sometimes they not. Yeah.
So all right, you had a different word for this.
It can also just be thought of or is referred to as detached structures. It's not part of the main dwelling, the main property of the building, but it's something that sits on the land of the main building.
Like a chicken coop?
Boom!
Oh, I like chicken coop.
I don't know why I went there. I'm Southern.
Some people got, 2 garages. Maybe they working in one. Got a shed. Got a
pole barn,
something like that.
Just a shed, yeah.
She shed. I was about to say that. She sheds. Yes.
What about a gazebo?
It technically is like, depending on what kind of gazebo. Is it permanently installed there? Is there? Yes, it is. Yes.
So is my detached garage? I don't have an attached garage. I have a detached garage.
Correct.
So that's it. So
yes.
Appurtenant structures.
Yes.
By the way, that third voice that you hear with the face you don't see is our producer, director, camera operator, and all-around superstar, Jamie.
Hello.
Jamie doing good stuff. All right. So we're done with this. You were done with this.
Because his spirit was drawn to it, and I did not want to break his spirit, so I just let him pick that one. I just let him pick that one. Next time, it's going to be a way more valuable word. I guarantee.
Do you think it should start with a B?
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, we got a note. That's our first show note right there.
Yeah, first show note.
Word of the day next
Word
time.
of the day, alphabetical order.
See, that's why he chose that word. He knew what he was doing.
See, a little cognizant,
Jamie.
Also, I didn't know that word, so I appreciate
it.
I felt like we all learned something. Yeah. I think Dakota's mad because she learned something. That
is exactly my problem. I don't want to learn. That's it right here. Okay.
Dakota knows all. Except for Appurtenant Structures.
Except for that.
That was the one thing we missed.
When he pointed to it, I said, "What that say?"
That's perfect.
I don't know.
That's perfect.
Great note, Terry.
So we're doing this show the third week of July, and I saw a meme the other day from one of my friends on Facebook, and it said, "It's so great that it's only rained 2 times this summer, once for 32 days and once for 43 days." So I don't remember it raining this much here. I'm like,
Nah.
in Seattle? It's crazy.
Yeah, it is, and it has gotten heavier. It's not just like raining over a short period of time, because sometimes it do rain every day.
That's true.
But the humidity, the sun, it just dried out. Like, oh, no big deal. But it's raining now. It's leaves standing water for days. It's not draining properly. It's just a whole bunch of, causing havoc.
Causing havoc.
Water causes havoc.
And in the insurance world, we're particularly sensitive to that kind of havoc because our clients run into some issues when that kind of havoc happens.
Yep.
So there's a real interesting couple of pieces of insurance that we're going to talk about right now and explain the difference between water backup and flood insurance. Because those are 2 very different things in the insurance world.
Right.
And that's why we got the expert here to talk about it.
Oh,
Look
you
at that,
just
just
put
teed
too
you up.
much pressure on me. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, like all this little heavy rain that we've been having, you can imagine how many calls, people coming in, they panicking, they don't know what to do. I'm pretty sure it's like frustrating, or it's probably scary to some people. You can really physically, like, you can hear the water rushing up into your house. That gurgle, ooh, that's a bad sound. That's a bad sound, that gurgle.
Turn off the radio. That's a fix.
Turn off, just fix that. So that's what most people are calling about the water backup in their home. It's basically just when your actual sewer or drain backs up into the lowest level of your home. So nothing from like the foundation, nothing from windows coming in from, like, some people got those little block windows where like they low level, nothing like that. Nothing leaking in from the structure. Is actually coming in from the drain that's the lowest level of your home.
Okay.
So that's really important. The biggest and most important part about it is people like, oh, that's happened, I'm gonna be covered. Like, this is great, this is definitely what insurance is for. But if you actually didn't add it to your policy as an endorsement separately, you don't have the coverage.
So not all policies have water backup.
No, because it's an endorsement. It's an elective. You have to select it, and then you have to select the limit. So one person that got 5,000 versus somebody that got 50,000, somebody else that got 200,000, depending on how your home is set up. Some people got the same amount of water backup as a replacement of their home, because depending on how bad it is, it could destroy the whole level of the home. It depends.
Well, so people that are redoing their basement or have that finished basement, and folks got that man cave, and they got the books, and they got the TV and all the sound system, it gets sideways quick.
Real quick. The funniest part is when people tell me they store the most valuable things they have in their basement. I get so scared. Why do you have the most valuable things in your home in the most dangerous room in the house? Just put it in the bathroom. Just sit it in the bathroom. Like, oh my goodness. So, you kind of, yes, you do have to evaluate stuff like that. If you take just a blank basement, no drywall, no floors, no design, no nothing, start putting bathrooms, carpeting, wood, nicer furniture, like whatever you're doing down there. People turn sports rooms, people put workout equipment. You start putting a gym or something like that. You need to start thinking about that to protect your assets. That's the first thing you want to think about. So, and
it's not super expensive from an endorsement perspective, right?
It's not,
especially considering the loss that it covers.
Yep.
Okay.
It's not that expensive.
So that's water backup. Yep. So talk to us about flood insurance.
Well, flood like Noah's Ark.
Okay.
It's kind of like that. Like Noah's, like flood.
I'm old, but I ain't that old.
Like
I
flood.
Around for that.
If you are going to be protected by flood, the very first thing you got to do is buy a flood policy. It's not a home insurance policy. They are 2 different things.
Completely different.
Completely. 2 different things.
Can everybody get a flood policy?
Everybody can get a flood policy, but some people are required to get a flood policy.
So there's like a flood zone,
Yes,
right? So
exactly.
and it's predicated by like FEMA?
Yeah.
Is that who does it?
Yep.
Okay.
So it's zoned out, like you this high risk, you this low risk, what's happened in the past. You know, they basically, I mean, they're using insurance of predictability. What has happened in the past to predict what's going to happen in the future. And then depending upon where you actually are, the home has to be up. So it has to have a certain height also too to, you know, qualify and get what you're supposed to get.
So does the insurer, would our company tell people who needs flood insurance?
No.
How do you know as a homeowner that you need it?
Normally, either your mortgage lender,
Okay.
so you can't even buy this home without also purchasing and keeping and maintaining the flood policy.
Okay.
Sometimes your county or not your county, I apologize, your municipality, like your city or something like that, they'll say, you know, this particular property has to have XYZ, but most people always get it from the lender.
Okay.
And if even if you're not even getting a mortgage or like, let's say you buying cash for it, it's still a trail of what was required at that home, what was done in the past. You know, the flood certificate is what it's called. It follows the home. It doesn't follow the owner. So that's something else.
So the home has it, not the owner.
No.
Does the home pay for it? 'Cause that's sweet.
No, the owner has it, like the owner. But I'm just saying, like, if your home requires flood insurance, it's on record. It's not a surprise that you need flood insurance. Yes.
So people can't call us and go, "Hey, am I supposed to have flood insurance?" Because we can't tell them.
But we could go look at the flood zone for them. Like if we had enough information, we could go in and say, hey, you are at higher risk, or there's, you know, 0 point chance that something might happen. You can get it. And those are people that's paying just like a couple $100. You know, they might, I'm gonna be real, maybe like $300 to $600 if you don't need it. That's nothing. You like, just by chance. So when you do need it, flood insurance can turn around to cost more than your homeowners.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got a plan. If you're looking on a budget and you're looking at this house, you fall in love with it, it's in a valley.
Yep.
And you live in a rainy area.
Yep.
Do you know of any flood areas? We're in West Bloomfield. Are there flood areas that we know of around here?
I don't think it's any flood areas specifically like to our areas. What people always think about when you think about flood areas, they think about when they hear the community saying, oh, our city has, you know, it feels like when it rains, it's a lot of water. That's not a flood. That's your city not maintaining their sewage. That's your city problem.
That sounds gross.
Yes, it do. It stank.
I saw people jet skiing in it the other day. I'm like, get out of there, people. That is not rainwater.
Right. That's literally a really area that's prevalent. It's like Oak Park. Over here. It's always like that in Oak Park.
Ferndale, that whole area.
That little area kind of right there, it's always like that.
Don't go in that water.
Don't go in the water. It's probably dirty and nasty.
It's definitely dirty.
It's like, you know, like tub water. You ever seen people take a bath and then they get out and you be like, so you clean now? You got out of that? You clean. You just got out of that and you clean. All right now. Okay,
like,
you clean.
Wait a second. Did it start out that dirty or did you make it that dirty?
It's like, it's become creamy. But whatever.
Mr. Bubbles, come take me away.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you have anything else we should talk about in terms of flood insurance or water backup?
No, it's scary. It's horrible.
Do they have to declare a flood, right?
Yes.
So just because we think it might have been a flood, they have to say it was a flood.
Yep.
And one of the ways I know this, your neighbor has to have flood too, right? You can't be the only flood on the street.
No,
that's not a thing.
You cannot. But the requirement is at least 2. You would think like, oh, it got to be a bigger population. Like how many people do this got to affect? Just 2.
2.
It only got to affect 2. But it cannot only affect you. It's kind of almost impossible that it only affects you.
It's like a micro flood.
They think you flooded your own house.
That's a thing, I bet.
That's, you know what? These tricksters, that's probably why they made that rule. They got the little water hose out, and they just left it on. They went to the movies and came back.
I remember I was 5 or 6 years old. I was taking a bath with my cousin. He was about the same age. And we decided at one point during the bath that we should take a shower. And so we turned the shower on, and we were in there, God knows how long. And my uncle came up, man, fit to be tied. This man was angry. And we had no idea why he was so mad and yelling at us, but we flooded the basement.
How?
Because the water seeped over the tub because we had the bathtub full when we turned the shower on. Because we're 5. We don't know shit. I mean, stuff. We don't know. We flooded the basement and ruined like the ceiling and like 2 or 3 levels of the house. That's a great story.
It is.
Hi, cousin Chris. I saw you naked.
Please. Uncle, please forgive Terry. Please forgive Terry.
You know not what he do.
Yeah.
So that was not really a flood, but it felt like one when I was 5.
Flood.
Yeah.
Man-made flood.
Yeah, he didn't. I wonder how it worked out.
Claim denied.
Yeah.
That's how it worked out. Claim denied, Uncle. Send your nephew back home.
Yeah, that's right. Don't let him stay over. In fact, I don't think I ever slept over again. Now that we're talking about it.
Oh.
No, it's just some trauma. I'm gonna need some time.
That's a good story. I mean, it was like roses, and it was great. It was a great story, Terry. Just like your word of the day. It was perfect. It was perfect. Now, yes.
In fact, I was talking to someone just on the phone earlier, a mortgage lender friend of mine, and I was saying the difference between working with a company like ours that shops multiple carriers versus one that just works with one carrier is we can look at 12 different companies for the same house, same cars, same people living in the house and driving that car, and the price could be like $1,200-$1,500 a year different.
It can vary. It's so many different factors, and when people try to do this apples to apples and like try to figure out the algorithm, you're gonna drive yourself crazy. Don't do that. It don't make sense.
Get yourself a degree in actuarial science.
It just don't make sense sometimes. But that's what we try to help people with. It's like saying these coverages fit your specific insurance needs, and this is a value. This, so sometimes you're gonna pay a little bit more to get a little bit more. But if you don't want that good, we can give you good enough if that's what you want. But we try not to, of course. We want to advise you and protect your assets as best as we can.
Protect your assets.
Yeah.
Cover your assets.
Yeah.
I always leave the T out because
that should have been the word, assets.
Assets.
Yes. People don't even know what that means.
They don't.
No.
If they have assets, they do.
Well, what about a bonus word?
A bonus word? Okay. Do you think it's in the dictionary?
Yes.
Let's see if it says.
Let's
what
see.
It says.
It would be after your word or before. It would be
right
after.
on the next page.
Let's see.
Assets.
Let's
authorized.
see.
Assignment. Assessment. Assign risk. See, the dictionary knows that people know what that is.
Yeah, you're right.
Assets. So what you?
No.
This
is your word today. My word today. I'm gonna be in charge of that. No, this is your word today.
I say cover your assets. It was a T. Just didn't make sure you heard it. So,
Okay.
all right. So let's talk a little bit about leadership. Let's talk about that because I think that's an important topic.
Yes.
Right, and we are on the management team here, and we do management team stuff. And you at one point even said, you know what, stop calling it the management team.
Yes.
You said, let's call it the leadership team.
Yes.
And I still like that. And I don't know why I screwed it up right now.
I was gonna check them, but I wasn't gonna check them on on camera. So since he checked himself, I'm gonna let it slide this time.
That's true. I thank you.
I'm gonna let it slide.
So we were talking about the idea of lead by example. Why is that important?
Because it's almost like the same thing you're doing with your children. So you're telling your kids, I would like you to do X, Y, Z, clean your room, brush your teeth, take a bath every day, comb your hair, do this, but you don't wash their clothes, you keep your house nasty, you don't cook them food, but you've been a hypocrite. What are you to do? In order for people to see that you serious and you committed about what you spewing out, like, oh, I want you to do X, Y, Z, that's a dictator. That's what they do. You do what I say and not what I do. That is horrible modeling. You do what I say and not what I do. You learn more from people by seeing what they do versus their words. That's just in general. When I'm kind to people, they're very surprised. But when I'm kind to people, it actually, like, they're receiving it. They can see it. It's versus like, oh, I'm nice to everyone. Anybody can say they're nice to everyone. But if you actually show that and, get it out there, people see that. And they receive it. And they respond better to that. It's almost you gaining, you leading, And that's what makes you a better leader when you got people's respect. That's gonna help you in leading.
I think that's an excellent point. I remember years and years ago, I was managing a bar on campus when I was in college. And I remember there were times when the garbage needed to be taken out, a keg needed to be brought up, beer needed to be brought, right? And like, if I could do it, I would do it every single time. And you know what happened when I had to ask somebody to do it? They would do it in a heartbeat because they knew the only reason I was asking is because I couldn't do it at that moment and it needed to be done, right? And so that to me is a great example of leading by example, right? It's because it's important. Can't ask people to sit there and make the calls if you're not sitting on the phone all day. Can't make people do the follow-up if they keep hearing the same people calling you all the time because you didn't follow up with them. You gotta do the things you want done. And I love the word you use, modeling, right? Because that's what people do. We model behavior. So I think that was very insightful.
I think you made me think of something you was talking. One thing that I always try to, lead by example is I always try to do +1. I always try to exceed expectations without the person like necessarily asking me specifically something. I always try to do something that I would want, or like that little bitty extra thing to make them remember us, or showing how we different from other people. So I always try to do that myself, do a +1. And people always mention it to me. They're like, oh, you didn't have to do that, or thank you so much, or send personal emails to feel like, oh my God, Dakota is so wonderful. No, but it does. Like, people, they appreciate it and they remember. And it also helps you a little bit when you need to be forgiven, when you're not doing everything right.
That's for sure.
It brings forgiveness.
That's for sure.
Yes.
Right. Normally you don't screw things up, but this time you screwed up big time. But because of the first fact, I'm gonna let this fact slide.
Exactly.
That's a real good point.
It's like you got a little chips.
You got chips.
You stacked your chips up. So give me some chips back. But they do. People forgive you when you be, I guess, good most of the time. So
that's for sure. That's for sure. All right, I think we are at a good point to wrap up. Anything that we want to tell these folks before we go?
Well, do you want to tell the story?
I don't really have a story.
Oh, you don't have a story?
No, I was gonna make one up, but I'm not feeling it.
You sure?
I listen. I could make one up.
If you started to make it up, see, we could cut out. If it don't work well, we just gonna cut it. Don't worry. So if you started and I maybe I could interject, and Jamie gonna be good. Watch
Jamie
gonna be good.
All right.
Okay, we're
so
gonna
let's do a story.
Okay.
So here I am, being my little insured self, and I got a problem because I was doing one of those Michigan lefts. And I wasn't really paying that much attention.
Yes. Okay.
Right?
I was with him in the car and I was terrified. I remember this. Go ahead. So,
you know how that sound of brakes squeaking? And it just kind of feels like your heart stops, time stops, and nothing is going to happen. And you're like, oh my God, I'm safe.
Yeah.
And then, crash. Right in the back end of my car, right? And so I called my insurance company.
Okay.
And I told them what happened.
Yeah.
And they said, "Did you make a Michigan left?"
so they were not forgiving.
They were not forgiving. They were not feeling it.
Okay.
And so I feel like they should know better because we live in Michigan, and that's a thing around here.
But everybody driving in Michigan, not from Michigan, Terry. You do realize that?
I'm not from Michigan.
Boom! Jamie ain't from Michigan.
Look,
Prove my point.
We had to go all the way across the table to find someone not from Michigan. That's how far we had to go.
Exactly.
Way to make your point.
Yeah, okay.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
So I'm in the middle of making up a story here.
Right.
And so I'm talking to the insurance company, and they are giving me grief. Right? Because they're saying that you should know better, you should have yielded. You know how they had the little stop sign? But you ever heard about how if it's got a white ring around it, it's optional?
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. You not heard that?
Jamie.
It's not true, but it is a thing.
I was about to say, wait.
No, it's like if it's got white around it, then you can just roll right through it. It's like a California roll or California
I'm
style.
Googling this.
Ooh, I like California rolls.
Really?
Talk about taking a left turn.
I like dragon rolls too. I might order Thai on the way home.
I never heard that though.
They all
You
have,
gon- you gonna make me look at
they all have white rings. they all of them.
See, that's the joke.
All of them have a white ring. So that's part of why it's funny.
That's like saying if it's red and white.
Right, exactly. Oh, that made me a little lightheaded. That was so funny, Terry. Okay, I think you should end the story because the joke was at the end and that was hilarious. I think no further needed, but I'm gonna tell you people, he had an FO accident, right?
Sure, yeah.
And he probably or should have had a good claims experience. And did your rates go up after that?
Of course. Why would
Of course they went up because you can't drive. So his story. I think the reason you told the story is because you want people to be prepared when they rates go up after horrible accidents.
Yes.
Prepare yourself. The
There's
reality
a moral
is
of the story.
That's what's gonna happen, people. You drive better, you pay lower rates, you hit stuff in Michigan less, and you think stuff is there. Oh, you did the white ring. Oh, that was
The white ring.
the white ring.
The white ring is a problem.
So let's just have realistic expectations. Maybe that was the point of the story. Let's have realistic expectations.
Yes, if you screw up, stuff is going to change,
That's it.
and rarely is it going to change in your favor.
Rarely.
Rarely.
All
That's
right.
true. All right, so Terry, Dakota, Jamie,
Yeah.
Bye.
you can find us at pkig.com. Oh, look at that. We have visual aids.
Yeah.
Mine doesn't say .com. Yours does?
Mine does.
Look at yours.
I know.
Yours is cute too.
We have so many different ones. Oh, maybe I should bring some of our cute stuff up here so we can show it next time.
Ooh, we'll have a collection. All right.
On the list.
All right.
On the list.
Thank y'all. Have a great evening.